Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to BalaCore Fitness Show. I'm Ellen Como, and Danny Lou, my co-host, he'll be on his way. I don't know where he is, but I'm sure he's okay. He's safe, and he'll be here soon. Today, we're going to talk about loving your body. And I know that sounds like such a vain thing to say, love your body, but we always take better care of things that we like. And in my business of fitness, I see both men and women constantly picking out the points of their bodies they don't like. And those become who they are and what they want to, it's like what they want to get rid of is what they focus on. And when you're focusing on what you want to get rid of and not looking at what you already have and the great things you have and your perfect body that you do have, it really sometimes will get you going in the wrong direction of losing weight and getting healthy. You were born with, and if we're sitting here, you could see us live, and I have my guest here, Sally Van Swearingen, and we're going to bring her in a minute because she wrote a book and she has a lot to say about that, about beauty power, which is really good. It really goes in line with what we're going to talk about today, so I'm excited, so excited that you're here. It's a perfect day, and it's a perfect show for this. So we have a hard time, and I do too. I am right there with you every step of the way, where we look in the mirror and we focus on the parts of our body we don't like. And that becomes our focus. And we'll come and go into the gym, or we'll start an exercise program, go to our trainer and just do something about my thighs, or I hate this butt I have. And everybody listening to this show, I want to tell you, you already have the perfect body. It's not about having the perfect body. It's about believing that you want to be healthy. The healthy body is just going to look better. It is. You're going to lose weight. And those parts of yourself that you don't like, you were given those parts for a reason. So embrace them. I was born genetically with very large calves. And going through junior high school, I was teased about them. I was called mountain woman legs and all kinds of things because my calves were so big and muscular. And I would look at all the girls that had these two little twigs that they were running around in, and I just wanted that so badly. And I was in home ec class, and I think it was in 7th grade, and Miss California came in to talk to us, which was very big. And she was at her home ec class, and she asked for questions. And my question was, how do I get rid of the fat on my legs? And she told me, really, there's nothing you can do. You got to start embracing your calves. So that was back when I was 12 years old. So it was going on. It was embedded in me quite young. And that's before I really found fitness and found the gym. And if I'm getting a little distracted, my co-host just walked right in the door. He's supposed to wait for break, but he didn't. So come on, sit down. Come join the show. Here you are. And so anyway, so back then at 11 years old, I was already looking at a part of my body that I did not like. And the ending to that story is how I found myself in a gym, started working out, and people in the gym started commenting on my legs and my calves. And I had people walking up to me in the gym when I was 17 and 18 years old and telling me, wow, with those legs, you should be competing. Well, here are the same legs that when I was 11 years old, I was asking Miss California, how do I change this and how do I get better? Now people are approaching me, and that's become one of the highlights of my body. And then as well, I was hired by companies and they wanted pictures of my calves, and I actually made money on my calves. So the one part of my body that I hated when I was 11 and 12 years old because it didn't fit in and it wasn't like everybody else's is what actually lifted me up in the fitness industry and made me stand out in a great way. And I'm telling you this story because there's so many parts of us that are not like anybody else. It might be a nose or your eyes or it could be anything, your mouth, it could be your legs, or it could be your stomach, your bottom, your arms, but it makes you different than everybody else. And then you're going to find a point in your life, if you're open to it, where that difference is actually what you need, that is going to excel you to where you're supposed to be. That's going to make you stand out when you're standing amongst the 20 other people. It's going to make you different in a good way. So learn to love the body that you were given. Okay, you were born with a pooch. That's fine. Be born with a pooch. It's okay. Be healthy. healthy is where it's at. We've got so obsessed with being so perfect because we're looking on the front of magazines and everybody on the front of magazines is perfect. And anybody that saw my Facebook saw Cindy Crawford did a photo shoot where she was not photoshopped. And she was actually in a bra, it looked like, and maybe some panties, and she had this big coat on. And she was not photoshopped. Cindy Crawford is beautiful beyond words. I think we can all agree on that. Well, she was twisting and turning, and she had a belly, and she had cellulite, and she chose not to be photoshopped for this. Now, she did show a version of the photoshopped version of the photograph, but she chose to use the unphotoshopped version in the magazine. And I applauded her so much and admired her so much. This is a woman that is absolutely beautiful at any shape. One thing about Cindy Crawford is she works out all the time, and she's a healthy woman. And she's gorgeous. And she's hired all over the world for her beauty. And because she has a pooch and she has a stomach, has it stopped her? It hasn't. But we look at the magazine and we see the Photoshop part. And that's the part that we aspire to. And that's a really dangerous path for us all to take. Covers of magazines, television, it's smoke and mirrors, my friends. So we're going to talk, what does it take to love your body? We have a perfect person to talk about this. We're going to take a break right now. This is Ellen Como on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Welcome back to BalaCore Fitness Show here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. My name is Ellen Como. I'm here with...
the running late Danny Lou. You know the traffic in Santa Clarita. There's no excuses. Always leave earlier. I apologize. I came in late. That was my phone going off. But I'm here now. And we are also here with...
We're here with Sally Van Swearingen, and she's an author, which I'm so excited. Welcome to the show, Sally.
Thank you. Woo-hoo. Hey, all right.
I want to welcome you to the show and talk. You wrote a book.
I did.
It's Not Over Yet.
All right.
I love that title. Yeah, Beauty Powder is what your book is about. And the first segment and the break, I wish people could hear some of our breaks because some of the most incredible stuff goes on our breaks where we really talk about, oh, wait a minute, last segment, we think about things and it brings up things for us. And you were saying that you had something to say about the last segment about how much we judge each other. But it's funny, as soon as we're judging others' bodies, we have to remember the person's body that we're judging, they're judging their body 1,000 times more than we are. And as women, you're right. You had a great point. We need to support each other because we don't do that enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beauty power. So that's what we were going to talk about a little bit.
Yes.
My book called It's Not Over Yet, Reclaiming Your Real Beauty Power in Your 40s, 50s, and Beyond. So basically what I get into with It's Not Over Yet is a mindset that women have when they get to a certain age. They go in one of three directions, Ellen. I know I've told you this before. So the three directions are Daisy Dukes and Ugg boots, baseball cap and sweatpants, or I love my beauty power. So Ellen Como is an example, of course, of I love my beauty power. She's, not 25. She looks really hot. I know that a lot of us look at Ellen and think, oh, that's impossible. Ellen works at it. She's also built well, and she works at it. It's obvious that she does work at it. It's her business. And so I think that for me to sit in the room with Ellen, I would have to fight from comparing myself to Ellen and, oh, I'm not slim like that, I'm not as muscular as that. But it's really important for women to know, like Ellen was saying earlier, we all are beautiful. And I love the point you said about focusing on if you have a body part, I also have big calves. I always thought it was from tap dancing. So I think that we have to focus on that we all are beautiful in our own ways. And I wanted to just make a point that it's really important that as women, we are careful not to judge our peers. Because when we're judging our peers, we're judging ourselves. And if you don't mind me telling a little quick story
I
about
would love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was at they have those home clothing parties, the clothing line parties, and a few years ago, I hosted one of those. And a very close friend to me was there. And she, about a size 8 to 10, in that range. And another friend of mine who was there was a size 0. And then I had friends from size 0, 10, 12, 14, all shapes and sizes and colors at this party. And this one friend of mine kept comparing herself to the size 0 person. And my friend has a beautiful figure. She's smaller than me. She looks great. I'd love to look as good as she looks. But she kept focusing on this and saying, I don't look good in this dress. Only you look good in this dress. But she was insulting every woman in the whole room by saying that. And when I approached her with it later, I said, you got to be careful. She said, but that's how I feel about myself. I'm not trying to put the other women down. So I'd like to ask you about that, Ellen. What do you think about that? And how do we get women to really think what they're doing, what they're saying, and hold their tongues?
That's all going to be individualized. We all hope everybody would know how to do that normally and just would have that sensibility, but they don't sometimes. So, I think, as a woman, sometimes it's hard for me because people expect me to be a certain way because I look a certain way. But they don't realize the challenges I've had, and I have had to fight just as hard as anybody else through my esteem issues. Mm-hmm. And I've had self-esteem issues, terrible ones, and I still have some, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Am I working on them? Yes, I am. Do I have them? Oh, absolutely. I do. We all do. And as soon as you start comparing yourself to somebody else, there's an insult going on to the other person as well. And what you don't know what their journey is. Mm-hmm. And we have to be really careful about that, because we might look at somebody and everything looks so perfect and beautiful on the outside, and inside that person could be one step away from crumbling. Mm-hmm. And so you're saying, I couldn't look good in that dress. Only she does. Well, maybe that woman that you're saying that to really has a lot of trouble with believing people like her as a friend and has trouble making friendships. Yes. And now you're basically saying you're different. You stand out because of that. And it's making, it could really bring up a lot of stuff in her. So we really need to be careful about comparing ourselves where we think we're giving them a compliment. A compliment would be, you look beautiful in that dress. Gosh, I need to try it.
Exactly. I love that. That's so good.
That's such a different way of saying it.
And I have something else to bring from the guy's point of view. Don't just think it's just women. Us guys why do you think we work out and we'll take any protein to look good, and we want to look good for other people? And we have flaws just as much as women do. I mean, I have this Asian poochie pouch that I've had for years until I started BalaCore. At BalaCore, without working that out, I couldn't get that flatter, but it was a part of working out. But I know what my flaw is. I look at that and going, I'm Asian, people rub a Buddha belly, and people think it's funny when they did it years ago, like, let's for luck, and I just laugh it off. But inside, honestly, it hurts that I have a little Buddha belly, but I'm a funny guy, so I can laugh it off. But inside, it did hurt my feelings, and it does. So guys have the exact same self-esteem issues, maybe in different ways, as women.
That's awesome that you just said that, because I look at you and I don't see any Buddha belly, but I guess I've got to put on my glasses. But anyway.
Well, thank you.
And it just goes to show you how somebody will tear their body apart, where he still sees a belly where he doesn't have one. And so many people, as their bodies change and they start to lose weight, they still see that fat person when and I don't want an overweight person when they're not overweight anymore. But when they look in the mirror, that's who they still see. And that tells me that it comes a lot more from the inside and how they look at themselves and really what's going on the outside. And so why they're in the gym spending countless hours trying to get their body to look a certain way, maybe they should be spending, not maybe, those hours learning to love their body and love who they are instead. Yes. Mm-hmm. Because then whatever you see in the mirror, you're going to love, and it's going to translate out to the world that way. And it's going to translate to the people around you. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to be back. You're listening to your hometown station on KHTS, 1220 AM. I said that all backwards, but we'll be back. We'll be back.